Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the RDA. I hope you are doing well. Fabrizio Romano's tweets yesterday evening or yesterday afternoon, whenever it was, about Manchester United potentially getting a centre-back this January will be the talking point of this video. Now, I've heard a lot of suggestions thrown around. I've heard the Ben Whites, I've heard the Pau Torreses, I've heard the Upamecano's, and Fabrizio Romano did say in a tweet that we probably getting Upamecano done right now is very, very difficult. So for me, straight off the rip, I think Upamecano and Alaba, we should lose them. I honestly think we should lose them. We should just forget about those signings. We should be focusing on getting someone who's ready to play for Manchester United now, who is going to be someone for the future, but is also someone that we can get now and can get now and is actually available. Now, look, I don't know a lot of centre-backs that fit the profile, but there's one name that stands out to me out of all the names that have been mentioned, Badiashile. Now, I didn't know much about Badiashile before I did this video, so I decided let me go watch some gameplay of him and let me go read some scout reports, multiple scout reports. And what I've deduced from reading all of that stuff about him and from doing the eye test is, and looking at some of his statistics, is that Badiashile is not the finished article. Badiashile is not going to come to Manchester United and be the guy that transforms our backline. But when I look at Manchester United, the biggest problem with Manchester United and the goals we've conceded this season with Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire in particular playing as a centre-back partnership, there's three key weaknesses that I've noticed. Obviously, one, the lack of pace, which means when we play a high line, they cannot recover and get back in time. But similarly, in the box, they don't have the pace or the positional awareness to stop low-driven crosses. The amount of low-driven crosses that I have seen come into Manchester United's box, and when they're stopped, it's usually by Luke Shaw or Eric Bailly in recent weeks, or sometimes Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Low-driven crosses, so that's two. And three, when teams are passing outside our box, it is so easy for them to penetrate through the middle and get shots in because Maguire and Lindelof are very timid. They're very shy. They're not natural leaders. They don't command the box. They don't have that natural aggression. They won't run and put their body on the line to stop a shot, unless it comes directly into their path. What I notice with Eric Bailly is he gets himself into positions where he thinks the opposition are going to shoot. And when they shoot, he's there to stop it off and cut it off. So I look at Badiashile, and the reason why I think he is the right profile of defender for Manchester United is because of a few things. Now, before I get to those things, I'm going to start with these weaknesses. So it doesn't come across as me overhyping this kid. Number one, he's very, very young. He's 19 years of age. Number two, he's never played in the Premier League, which is an obvious issue. And despite the applaudance he gets for his physicality and how tall he is, because he's 192 centimeters tall, I don't know how many feet that is, but he's a tower. He's a machine. Despite all of that, we don't know how he's going to fit in the Premier League with the fast tempo, right? He lacks a bit of concentration. He has issues with his concentration, so his positional awareness is not the best. He's very, very aggressive, which means he drifts up and down a lot. He drifts up and down, not just on the ball, but off the ball. He tends to drift out of position quite a lot. And it looks good when it comes off, but when you concede a free kick, when you give away a silly foul, when you give away when you just break the shape of the back line when you didn't have to, and those moments where centre back pushes out of position and he gets dribble pass, so every other person in the back four has to shuffle across to stop, and then what you end up having is a lot of space on the other side. That could be an issue with someone like Badiashile if he doesn't contain that aggression. But the positives in terms of his actual ability and skill set as a defender for me outweigh everything I've just said. I get that he's young, I get that he'll be inconsistent, but I'm willing to live with that if we can get him in January and see whether or not he can do a job and help Manchester United stay in this mathematical title race as long as possible. The pros of getting Badiashile is he is extremely clean and tidy on the ball. I mean clean. His dribbling on the ball might infuriate some people and raise your blood pressure and give you heart palpitations, but I tell you what, when it comes off, it looks beautiful, and it comes off more times than not. He likes to drive up the field, which is something Eric Bailly has done in recent weeks. If you're a Manchester United fan and you've been watching us, and you've been watching Manchester United over the last few weeks pretty much like religiously, you'll notice, and I want you to pay attention to this, you'll notice every now and then Eric Bailly tries to drive the ball up the field. If he's passing it in the back four and it seems like nothing's happening, Eric Bailly very rarely decides to play the long ball over top. He will rather penetrate the space in the middle, draw people towards him, then pass it out, which is very, very smart. And I think that's something that Badiashile does a lot as well. He just runs because people don't expect it. People don't expect centre backs. Have you noticed how teams who play a low block or low press or mid to high press, but not a full high press, have you noticed how whenever you're passing in your back four, they don't really press. They let you have it between your back four. And if one of the centre backs is brave enough to run through, more often than not, they actually do get through. You can catch the forward line sleeping and really gain some serious ground and really hit teams in transition. That like it's really lethal. But onto his defensive skill set and what I've noticed about him as a defender. He's tackling. He's not afraid to go for a tackle. You know, one thing I don't see a lot with Maguire and Lindelof is that they don't go to ground that much. So it's refreshing to have someone like Eric Bailly who's not afraid to go in, who kind of looks like a Wan-Bissaka. If Wan-Bissaka was a centre-back, I think he'd be like Eric Bailly, to be honest with you. I don't think he'd be as reckless, but I think it'd be like Eric Bailly. And with Badiashile, it's the same. His tackling is really, really, really good. So he can get on the ground. But similarly, aerially, he's actually quite decent as well because he's so tall and because he's such a unit. Like physically, he's very imposing. So he's good in the air. And also, I think the fact that he is so aggressive can be seen as a positive and a negative. I think it's a positive because we won't have teams arcing outside the box. He ain't afraid, fam. If you're just passing it sideways, fam, if you're sideways FC, he ain't afraid to go in for the tackle, fam, and get the ball, fam. And I think that's very, 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 very good. I think he would add a different dimension to our attack. Now, I don't know if we'll actually get Badiashile. And to be honest with you, I would be very, very disappointed if we get anyone else on that list other than Badiashile, unless it's Alaba and Upamecano, which I don't think will happen. If we do sign a Ben White, if we do sign a Pau Torres, or if we do sign some other player who's playing either in the Serie A or the La Liga, and they're not quick, they're not physically imposing, they don't get up the field, they don't have all the characteristics that would complement Harry Maguire, I'm going to be very, very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. The last thing we need is a Spanish or an Italian Victor Lindelof, fam. We need someone with pace. We need an Eric Bailly whose thighs are not made of glass. We need an Eric Bailly whose thighs are not made of porcelain, fam. You know, then wait there, fam. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. But we'll just have to wait and see, man. Fabrizio Romano's tweet has given me hope. But whether or not we'll actually sign someone, I don't trust this board, fam. I really, really don't. I'm excited about Diallo. I'm excited about Casado. And I'm very, very excited about the links to Max Aarons because I think he's a very good player. But beyond that, I don't see us actually doing anything because this board is so incompetent. And I would love to see them prove me wrong. But we'll just have to wait and see, man. Until then, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.